Welcome to the Maidenless podcast,
where we talk about Elden Ring. But today we're not talking about Elden Ring. Today we're doing another thing. We are talking about our favorite bosses.
Yeah.
From the granddaddy of them all in some people's eyes. Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
First hugely popular From Software game. So we're talking about main bosses, anything that has a boss health bar. And the ones that we like fighting the most could be we like how they look. Could be we like certain mechanics in the fight. It doesn't really matter. Just favorite for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we start with number 5?
Ooh, number 5. Do you want to go first?
Yes, I'll go first because I do remember this. My number 5 is Quelaag or Quelaag or however you want to pronounce it.
I've found the safest thing with these games is just think the names and don't ever try saying them out loud.
But yeah, I really like Kui, Spider Lady. You know, not just.
Oh, sorry, never heard anybody say Kui before. And it's just a funny. Sounds like a Pokemon.
I like her sword a lot. That's a big drawing point to me. When the boss has an amazing weapon that just looks really cool. But I think that her attacks are super satisfying to dodge. I really like the tactic of area denial, where the spider will cough up the lava and then you can't use certain parts of the map.
Yep.
I also love the fact that it was one of the first easy Souls bosses for me because I could always summon Maneater Mildred, which is an amazing NPC. And Mildred, if you're lucky, can solo that fight, which I think she has for me before. But now I can fight her solo too, because it's like I said, super satisfying to dodge the sword attacks and to kind of circle around her and always being mindful of the lava.
Interesting. I never knew that about Mildred. I knew you could summon her, but I didn't know that she was strong enough to actually take on that boss by herself.
I mean, it probably takes some pretty good RNG, but
okay, yeah, that's understandable.
She's very fire resistant for someone who doesn't wear any clothes except for a bag on their head.
Hey, I don't know. Like I've known some people that have been in the sun long enough where it's like, you know, when you've had sunburns over and over and over and over and you start to get that kind of leather buildup.
The leather.
I could imagine that Mildred's probably a little on the leathery side.
Probably.
I mean, the Fury Sword's sweet. I'm just looking at pictures of it right now.
Oh, yeah. It's like a spider's leg or something?
Yeah, like segmented like a leg's got the... Now, would you consider those to be spikes or blades on it, or would you think of them more as hairs, like coarse spider hairs? Because I would think of them like the spider hairs.
Yeah, I think they are supposed to be like spider hairs, but in the mythical world of Dark Souls, maybe they're sharp enough to do some sort of damage. Yeah.
Well, I mean, spider hairs can do damage in the real world,
too.
Well,
that's true.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's tarantula's biggest form of self-defense. They scratch the hairs off their butt at you.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They're very, very prickly and very painful. And then just not painful like you're going to die from pain, but just like, wow, this is annoying. It's like fiberglass.
Yeah. They always looked like cactus spines to me, like furry cactus spines.
Or like a kiwi that's grown legs, which I'm not a fan of.
So what is your top 5th
My
boss?
5th favorite boss. Now, when I was thinking about these, I was not doing the responsible thing and ranking my thoughts. No. So it's going to be some just off-the-cuff decision time right now. I'm going to go for... This is going to be controversial no matter what spot I put it in, I realize, okay? But to satiate the raging person that probably listens to this, I'm going to say Bed of Chaos, actually. And I know...
Boo.
I know. Everybody hates the Bed of Chaos. I'm going to tell you why I like that, okay?
Convince me.
Okay. Number 1, it is a completely random different format of boss fight than any of the others, hearkening back to the like classic N64 like Donkey Kong and Mario and Zelda boss fights where it's like, or I think like what's the one, Star Fox. That's a thing, right?
That's a thing.
So where you have like a boss that's like a weird platformer puzzle and you have to do an action, and then there's a little cutscene where the boss bounces back and like kind of jiggles a little bit and blinks a couple of times, and then you're back, and then you got to do it again in a different way. So I was like, okay, well, this is kind of, it reminds me of, because I didn't get to grow up with an N64. I only ever got to play it when I would go over to like a friend's house.
Yeah. Cool friend.
Yep, the cool friend with the N64. And so it reminded me of that a little bit. So I'm going to say that's one of the reasons. Reason number 2. I was obsessed with Demon Souls without ever getting to play Demon Souls. And I was obsessed with one particular aesthetic from Demon Souls that I remember from like just looking up images and stuff online of that game way back in the day. And one of the things that I loved was the weird, like, and I think it was in the kind of final boss fight area of that game. It's like just mud and sticks and like nasty, like, but natural overgrowth stuff. And I don't know why I connected with that aesthetic so hard, but I did. And that's carried on with me from, first seeing those games to when my dog comes in from outside with like mud and twigs, like dropping. Right, exactly. And even, what is it? True Detective Season 1, towards the end of it, has this area, Carcosa, not exactly from the book, but there's all these like arranged twigs and, branches and stuff. And I don't know why, but I've always thought like that is just so interesting to look at and so much creepier than anything.
Yes.
And so that's reason number 2 is it really like, it's like supposed to be like lore wise, like the source of all that stuff in that world. And I'm like, yeah, this is so great. And the third reason and the final reason is the slide on the way down.
The slide is fun.
The slide is fun.
It gets a little old, but
I didn't die the first, like, I don't know if I've died to that.
My gosh, I always die.
Really?
To that. Yeah.
I thought when I first heard that everybody like hated that boss, I thought their reason was going to be because it was easy. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like if all the rest of them are a challenge, that's fine. But yeah, I think I have fought the Bed of Chaos twice. And once was my first playthrough, and once was my second playthrough.
Boo.
But it's memorable. And I guess bonus reason, I love that it's just a little like sluggy thing at the end and not actually the big, like you get through the little like... Yeah.
And it's just a little slug.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny to me. That was like, it was just, there's a lot of things about it that I enjoyed. So that's my 5.
Nice.
That's number 5.
So for my number 4, I picked the gargoyles, the bell gargoyles.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I just think that is a good way to introduce gank fights.
Sure.
Because the second gargoyle comes in halfway through the fight and he has half health, and so it's a pretty easy one. And again, Dark Souls, I was a baby to the From Software formula, so it was another fun fight for me because I could either summon Solaire or Lautrec.
Oh.
You can or both. And literally, if you do both, you do not have to do anything. You just go sit in the corner, and they do the whole fight for you. I have done that, but normally I like to pick one. I'll usually bring like Solaire just as a buddy.
Sure.
And or it's fun to do solo because I like that they change levels too. Yeah. Like they'll jump up in the air and blow fire at you, so you can kind of dodge under them. And yeah, it makes for a lot of interesting encounters.
There's a lot of dynamics to it. Now, remind me, so Dark Souls 1, because it has been a while since my last playthrough, but my understanding of it, and I know that I've had this misunderstanding with Elden Ring and later games, was that you had to summon NPCs in order to continue their quest, right? Sometimes. Okay. And they had to live, right?
Actually, no. I think that is completely a Dark Souls 2 thing.
Really?
I think that's completely a Dark Souls 2 thing.
Wow.
Because I think Dark Souls 1...
Maybe DS2 bad after all.
Perhaps DS2 bad. I like DS2.
I actually do too.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and in Dark Souls 1, I think you just have to talk to people to advance quest lines.
Interesting.
And then in Dark Souls 3, you had to do a couple like invasions where people lived and you killed the invader.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you had to do that in Dark Souls 1 at all.
Okay. I think I've always had that fear. It's like, if they don't live through this, I'm going to not be able to continue this quest line, and then it's going to eat away at me forever.
No, I think the original idea to me was that they weren't really there. It was like a spirit version of them from a different dimension.
Gotcha.
And that was like the timey-wimey thing.
Okay, sure.
So what'd you have for 4?
Number 4, I'm going to say 4 kings.
4 kings.
4 kings. And potentially just because there's a 4 in there is why I'm putting them at number 4. But yes, 4 kings. 4 kings, I just thought the arena of just nothing.
Yeah, the abyss
was so cool. Like, I don't know why, but it felt like I was in a movie.
Yeah.
And when you're doing good in that fight, you feel like you're doing real good.
Yeah.
It was sweet. I don't know if I understood the lore of it entirely. Even to this day, the DS1 lore is like my haziest lore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just I wasn't accustomed to the From Software writing style, and
Indeed.
Yeah, so my assumption is that it has something to do with the void what's his name?
Anti-Framped. Koth.
Yeah, my thought was that it had something to do with him and his whole.
Yeah, I mean, we could get into it, but I think the idea is that the abyss is like the darkness that when the flame dies out, it will be the abyss.
Okay.
And so Koth is trying to like trick people into welcoming in the abyss. So that's what happened in what's that place?
Was that New Londo?
New Londo,
or the ruins rather of New Londo.
That's what happened to New Londo, and that's what happened to Ulasil, is that they got tricked by Framped into kind of.
And there, who Artorias was kind of. That's in my understanding what he was on his way down there to stop them, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So are they the rulers of that, or are they just like ring wraiths, basically like former royalty that?
I think they're ring wraiths. Yeah,
okay.
They were
interesting.
Because I think the Japanese, now this is way off the cuff, but I think in the Japanese it's like the 4 officials.
Okay.
So it's like they're supposed to be the governing body of New Londo.
Okay.
And then they got corrupted by the abyss and basically became ring wraiths.
Sure. Okay. Got it. So that's kind of like Artorias's fate a little bit then.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So that's more, I mean, that is even more interesting to finally understand a bit of. I just thought their moves were cool. Fighting in the darkness, which was kind of revisited in a really insignificant way in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
During that tower with is it omens that you fight?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, are we doing this again? And that was just omens. And I was
just
like,
omens.
okay, well, whatever.
But their flames look cool.
Their flames do look cool. There's something about just like everything going away and you just running on nothing that is like, ooh. And I couldn't, like, your depth perception gets all screwy. I didn't know how big the enemies were that I was fighting.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of fun.
I like the aesthetic of that fight a lot. I think why I didn't rank it is because I think once you kind of understand that it's a DPS check and that the closer you just have to run at them and then they really can't hurt you, because if you get hit with the hilt, it does a lot less damage than the blade. So the closer you are to them, the less damage you take. So I don't know. I don't think I ranked it because I thought that maybe just now that I know how it is, the fight is like over very quickly, and so it's not as engaging. But
that's fair.
I do think the aesthetics of that fight are amazing. For number 3, I had the power couple themselves.
Ah, yes.
Ornstein and Smaug.
Smog.
Yeah. I used to hate this fight. Oh man,
I still do.
Sometimes I do. Yeah. But I think it's that level of challenging that never goes away. Like I've never felt like I'm really, really good at that fight.
Sure. Yeah.
I feel competent at it now. I can get through it in a few tries, but yeah, it's still super challenging. And I think that it's the pinnacle of one of the best areas in that game. And just when you think, you've been fighting these glorious silver knights in these marble hallways, and you're like, this can't get any more like resplendent. And then you have these two like golden gods that you have to fight. And yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm always thinking about a meme of which one's the big guy? Is that Smaug? Yeah. It's always a meme of Smaug. And there's like I keep wanting to say the Tarnished, but at that point it would be
the Chosen Undead.
The Chosen Undead is staring at Smaug, and then Smaug goes, hey, my eyes are up here, and then he looks up at the helmet, and then it's like, nope, down here, and then it's at the neck. I think about that meme a lot. It's so good.
Yeah, I saw this, like, I don't know if it was fan art or concept art, but it was like Smaug under his armor, and he's like a hunk, like he's not fat, he's like jacked. And that one haunts me a little bit.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that fight is like one of the fun interactive. I mean, all of them are interactive. You're fighting, but like that's the one that's in my mind the most interactive as far as like, well, it's a choose your own adventure kind of.
Yeah,
you know, like you're either gonna have a bad time because you killed Smaug first, and now you get giant Ornstein, or you're gonna have a bad time because you killed Ornstein first, and now you get electric Smaug.
Yeah,
and it's not the best either way, but it's that fun little like, well, you can choose if you want. You can choose how you're gonna die. I like that.
And I like that you get a different boss soul and different armor that you can get depending on who you fight. So it rewards at least one extra playthrough.
Yep, absolutely.
To get that awesome Ornstein armor.
Oh yes, I do love Ornstein's armor so much.
It's so cool.
Yes.
Okay, who'd you have for 3?
All right, for 3, I'm gonna go with Great Grey Wolf Sif.
Wow, we're really gonna have no repeats.
You didn't rank Sif?
I didn't rank Sif.
Oh my word, dude.
Because that fight hurts me.
That's why I'm ranking it. I know, but that one is, I'm a sucker for, if I'm watching a movie or a show, I want to feel something, right? I don't, if it's a comedy, I want to laugh. If it's a drama, I want to cry. If it's horror, I want to be unsettled. If it's children's movies, I want to be unsettled. So I just want to have a reaction, you know? And that one made me have a real reaction to the point where the 2 times I played through, at that point, I considered stopping. I was like, I don't know if this is worth it to continue this game. If it means I could potentially save 1 copy of digital Sif, you know?
And you have to murder Sif to get the Artorias ring,
right?
To fight the 4 kings,
right? And how iconic is it? I mean, when I think of Dark Souls, like Dark Souls 1, there's a few images that are like always in my mind.
Yeah.
And one of those images is Sif holding that sword, and just second phase, injured Sif, man. Nothing is sad.
Yeah.
There's nothing as sad as that.
Well, even sadder than that, I don't know if you've done this, but if you do the DLC before you fight Sif, then Sif will recognize you when she sniffs you and like has this regretful look like she doesn't want to fight you.
Aww.
Yeah, it's just, that's why I didn't rank it, because I didn't want to talk about it.
Well, here we are. We're talking about it.
Okay,
and it's a rough one.
It is a rough one.
But I feel like it's gotta be there. It's gotta be there.
Okay.
Plus the moves are fun. I don't know. Like that's a really fun fight with dodging, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. That one I always end up under Sif, and then I feel like I'm just like booted to one side or the other a lot. But yeah, it is a cool fight.
Yeah.
I think
plus 3 Wolf Moon shirt. I gotta throw that out there.
3 what? Huh?
3 Wolf Moon shirts. Just
where they're all hobbling.
I want to make one of those, and it's just 3 Sifs with swords in the different poses that he's in.
What if it's Sif, Red Wolf of Radagon, and Blythe?
Actually, that shirt. Okay. Sidebar. If we ever make merch for this podcast, Can that be the merch?
That can definitely be the merch.
I'll buy that.
Yeah, like with blue tie-dye with...
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like a dark blue, like a deep blue.
Yeah, blue tie-dye. Tell us if you would buy such a shirt for around 25 to 30 American dollars.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. I would do it right now.
Number 2, I started to second guess myself, so I'm gonna say...
I'm second guessing myself right now.
Yeah. So I'm going to say an honorable mention because this one deserves to be talked about. And I don't know if you're going to talk about it, but my honorable mention before we get into the top 2 is Manus.
Manus.
Father of the Abyss.
All right.
The final DLC boss, because I do think that is an amazing, engaging fight, and you can summon Sif for it. However, it infuriates me to no end.
Oh, really? Do tell.
I just... It's like he belongs in a different game, maybe. Like, it feels like a Bloodborne boss almost.
Interesting.
I wish I could quick step. It feels like it's designed for quick stepping.
Yeah.
And then, especially with like the magic spam that you have to item switch to a different item to reflect. I don't know. I just get infuriated by that boss fight, and a lot of times I just want to get through it. So I didn't put it on my list. But my number 2 is from the DLC as well. It's the Sanctuary Guardian.
Okay.
I think that fight is engaging as well because it has an awesome moveset and different moves based on the different heads of the Chimera? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, that would be a Chimera.
Yeah. So like the snake does poison stuff.
That's cool.
The lion has the claws, and then I guess the lightning comes from the goat. I don't know. Ghost of lightning.
Well, I mean, there's the lightning goat in Elden Ring, so
that's true. The lightning ram.
Or ram, yeah. Could be.
It's all connected.
It could be a past reference to the future of Elden Ring.
Could be.
Which is the greatest of all time. So the goat. Who knows?
Wow. Yeah. I'm seeing all the little threads connect.
Could be a LeBron reference, too. You never know.
You never know when they're going to sneak one of those in there on us. But yeah, once you figure out how to dodge the Sanctuary Guardian, it's so satisfying to dodge the lightning bolts and stuff, and like staying out of the water so you don't take the splash damage from the lightning stuff.
I'm trying to remember if I played the DLC for that in one of my playthroughs, and I don't recall.
Oh, wow.
Maybe I gotta go for a third playthrough. 3 for 3 Bed of Chaos. just one try.
And
okay.
The other cool thing about the Sanctuary Garden, I've actually never done this. I just found out that you can do it. Once you beat him, if you go back to his boss arena, which you really have no reason to do, there's 2 of them, and you fight it as a gank boss.
What do you get for that?
I think another soul.
Oh, okay.
But you can also cut its tail. You get a poison whip for the tail.
Okay.
Yeah. So lots of cool little Easter eggs with that boss.
Yep.
And it's such a... I mean, there's no run up to it. You can literally...
just get in there and get it done.
Get in there and, yeah.
That's a nicety.
Yeah.
In that game.
Again, it's like they were thinking ahead with that one.
Yep.
What'd you have for 2?
All right. Well, I'm assuming that we both get an honorable mention then, just out of fairness.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to preface my honorable mention with a slight other honorable mention, which is any boss with a tail.
Oh, yes.
Right? Any tail that can be cut off in that game, so satisfying to do. The rewards for cutting the tails off is they're all fun. They're cool swords and daggers and whips and just fun stuff. So I'm going to say I do love anything with a tail that can be cut off. Even the non-bosses. Ooh. Even the non-bosses.
Gargoyles and... Gargoyles.
Oh, really? Is that all you got?
Who else do you cut?
You cut the tail off, or shoot the tail off, rather.
Oh, the dragon, yeah.
The dragon at the bridge.
Great.
And the dragon at the bottom of the Great Ash Lake.
Yes.
Yep. And that's not a boss.
No. Nope.
That's just that's a poor NPC.
That's
now missing his tail twice.
He wasn't using it.
No, he was not. He was barely doing anything. All right, so for my number 2. Man, 5 is such a small number.
It is. But there's not a lot of bosses in DS1.
I know, and I love them all so much, except for you, Capra Demon. I really don't love you at all. Let's see. My number 2. Oh, man, I'm battling right now internally. Do I go with the meme? No, I shall for once in my life resist the meme. I'm going to say for number 2, I'm going to go Gravelord Nito.
Nito.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep, I'm going to say Gravelord Nito. His arm is very disturbing to me.
Oh, yes.
I don't like it, and that makes me like it. Mm-hmm. Right? I had a visceral reaction to Gravelord Nito where I was like, ugh, the whole time. His tiny little head. And nobody knows what's going on under that cloak. Like, what's that body look like? I just gotta know. The summoning of skeletons over and over and over during the fight, the spamming of spells, and the great sense of satisfaction. I consider the entire path to him part of the boss fight.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I got really good at running around.
Oh, I know. It was like... Because that's also where you get there's that little pool with all the little baby skeletons and stuff.
The ankle biters.
Oh, and, oh man. And, and this allows me to work the meme in because the pinwheel boss fight's on the way.
Hey, there we go.
And that leads the way to Giant Dad, the ultimate build in any of the Dark Souls games at all.
You can farm the masks.
Yep, if you can get that right mask. Oh, man.
What does that mask do? It just gives you
Just
poise?
looks good.
Oh. Thought it did something for you.
Just makes you a dad, giant dad.
Okay.
But yeah, I think his design is super cool.
Yeah.
I love every image of him I've seen. I love him in that opening cutscene. And I wish I knew more about him as a guy. But super fun boss fight. Totally. I'm trying to remember what build I was using when I first fought him because I had to fight him a lot. So it was a bad build, whatever it was. Oh, it was my thief build the first time. That's not a good build for that fight.
Yeah.
Just using the little dagger and the little parrying shield.
No. I found the best way to shred Nito is pyromancy.
Pyromancy seems to do a lot in that game. Bum, foreshadowing to my number 1 pick.
Have you ever, before we move on from Nito, have you ever played with his sword that you can get?
No, I have not played with his sword.
I found it by accident one time. I was like, oh, what's this little thing I can...
You found it by accident.
Yeah, because if you go down to the catacombs before you fight him, and if you go down there and lay in a tomb, you'll wake up in his boss arena, and you can go become a Gravelord, and the Gravelord reward for rank 1 is the Greatsword.
I went down there, I got in the casket, or grave, or whatever it is, and I think I joined the Covenant and then didn't do anything with the Covenant at all.
We should get it right when you join the Covenant.
Did I just not pay attention? That could be.
You might find it just laying in your inventory. It is amazingly powerful.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of stats do you need to use it? Like, how far along do you gotta be?
Not super. I think you just need, well, I don't remember.
Okay.
I think it's a lot of strength.
Okay. Well, I usually
Maybe
do
some
strength
faith or something.
It's seeming like I gotta play through DS1 one more time.
Yeah. It's fun. I've played through DS1 a lot. Actually.
Okay.
That's like my comfort game. I just go and do a different, because there's so many weapon upgrade paths.
Sure.
And like the sorcery and pyromancy take just an exorbitant amount of souls. So yeah, it's like rewards lots of other playthroughs.
Okay. Well,
and I guess you could do it in New Game Plus, but I think
Yeah.
it's more fun to build from the ground up in those games.
Plus, it's always fun to get one more chance to hear "Aye, so aye," or however that guy says it.
Yes, a fine trade.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Yep.
Okay, number 1.
Oh boy, I'm so excited to hear your number 1.
It is Artorias of the Abyss.
Oh man, you're just all DLC today.
I love the DLC bosses.
I'll have to play.
It's so fun.
I'll have to
Artorias, I love how he looks. I love that he never speaks. He just makes haunting noises. I found online they actually recorded a whole bunch of voice lines for him.
And they just chose not to do anything with them?
Well, they're very evocative. Like they make you very sad. And so I think they were trying to like not make him more threatening.
You killed my dog. Why did you
kill my dog?
He was she is it a boy dog or a girl dog?
I think it's supposed to be a she.
Oh.
They them.
I guess I never really looked when I was down under the legs. I never checked.
They didn't start rendering that stuff until Elden Ring.
Oh, okay, got it.
Like the big-headed dog's buttholes. That's my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Like somebody worked weeks on just making sure that little balloon knot looked perfect.
Oh, gosh.
All right.
Yeah. Why do you? So yeah, tell me.
I just he great look. He look one of those bosses that looks amazing in their armor, and I look trash in it.
Yeah, you can. Can you get the armor outside of the DLC or no?
You have to beat him and then talk to Isamai.
Okay, so you can't get it outside of the DLC. So then I've definitely played the DLC because I also remember looking trash in Artorias' armor.
Yeah, I think you only get it after you beat him.
Interesting. Because it's the tiny legs, right?
Yeah, it's the tiny legs. They look terrible.
Yep.
The ankles.
Yeah.
Such breakable ankles.
Yep. It reminds me of Kronk from Emperor's New Groove a little bit.
Yeah, I love his little dangly arm.
Mm-hmm.
And that he uses it to throw goop on you.
Mm.
I always feel so slapped in the face. Because his attacks take like half your health when he hits you with the sword.
Oh,
but then he'll just like throw some goop in your face, and it doesn't take very much health, but just like. And once you learn how to, when he does his little like flippy smash, and you learn how to dodge that, it's so satisfying. Sometimes he'll just spam it, and I hate that in any other boss, but I love it in Artorias. Just sitting there, I'm like, do it again, I'll dodge it. Do it again, do it again, do it 12 more times, I'll dodge it.
What is his weapon that he uses?
He uses the it's like cursed greatsword or something.
Okay. That's the sword that Sif uses, right?
Sif uses the uncursed version, I believe.
Oh, okay.
You can get 3 different versions of that sword in that game.
Really?
Yeah, so you can get cursed Artorias' greatsword by using the soul of Sif on any regular sword.
Okay.
And then you get the pure Artorias' greatsword if you ascend it from a broken weapon, which is weird. And then if you use Artorias' soul, you get the Abyss greatsword, I believe. I don't know why I know all that.
I'm looking at Etsy right now. Someone has made the Dark Souls Artorias greatsword, and it looks fantastic.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That is pretty. How much do they want for that bad boy?
I don't know. I don't have enough. I know that.
$1,200 or something?
$331.
Oh, a steal.
Yep, only one left, and it's in 10 carts, though, so act fast.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Somebody better buy that for us.
That's a good number one pick. I'll have to revisit and go through the DLC again, because I was there were vague things that I was remembering about the arena for the Chimera.
Oh, yep.
And I was like, man, I do remember sloshing around in water and getting electrocuted.
Well, because you played DS1 when it first came out, right?
I would have played DS1 back in 2010 or 11.
Well, it came out in 11, so
okay,
if you
so
played
11
it in 10,
then.
you're really
okay,
special.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Well, I just remembered I was in college. A lot of that time was a blur, not for the reasons you would think.
Homework and exams and...
Legitimately, like, most of my time I was studying. But, yeah, I would have been in college when I played it. I played it on 360 because that's what it came out for, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would have been 2000. So, yeah, I guess it would have been pretty close to when it came out. So, maybe not the DLC.
Or if you got the DLC, you were super over-leveled for it. Maybe just whiz through it.
Maybe.
Because, yeah, I don't know.
Man, I don't know. That whole timeline for me is just very vague. Everything's very vague to me.
Yeah, I played it not when it first came out, so
Okay.
I always had access to the DLC and usually found the DLC super hard.
Sure.
Because I think like what they do with those games is they kind of gear it to like New Game Plus level.
Yeah.
But take it away with your number one pick.
All
from Dark
right,
Souls
my number one pick. I can't believe we had no overlap this whole time, by the way.
Really?
That's just insane to me. My number one pick is Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. Gwyn. And the reasoning, plin plin plon, first of all.
Plin plin plon.
That's the music for that fight's fun. I stinking love the run up to that fight.
Yes.
With all the
First flame.
is it the It's not this. It's the Black
Knights.
The Black Knights. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh man. And that was also, by the way, the only time that I ever got any Black Knight weapons.
Yeah. Because you have to kill so many of them.
Right. And I only got to play with the Black Knight weapons just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the run up, and then when I got in there, I was so confident. And all that confidence was thrown directly into the trash. I got there with a big old bonk build,
mm-hmm.
and had to completely redo my build, which in that game I don't remember that being easy to do.
No, because there was no respec.
Right. So what I did instead of my big bonk strength, it was basically like a strength heavy quality build.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of doing that, I armored up for the first time in that whole game. I armored up. I don't remember what suit of armor that I wore, and then I went to the pyromancer guy back at Firelink and leveled up the pyromancy as far as I could get it at that point in the game. So there's quite a bit of farming at that point where I was like, okay, I gotta... And I remember for farming, I would always go to Anne Orlando and just do a circuit of all of the Silver Knights. I would just kill Silver Knights over and over. Leveled up my pyromancy, and then I did... just about called it Hot Flash. Quick Flash, right? Is that what it's called?
Is that to just fire in front of you?
No. What is it? Okay. I'll tell you what they do because I don't remember the pyromancy names. Hot Flash, we'll call it. Was one where you would... Flash Sweat. That's what it was called.
Oh.
Flash Sweat.
Resist fire damage.
Yep, you'd resist fire damage. And then the one that makes you into metal.
Iron Flash.
Yes, the Iron Flash. That's the... I always think of it as a Super Smash Bros. Power up.
Yes.
All of a sudden I'm Metal Mario.
Clink, clink, clink,
yep.
clink, clink.
And then wore my heaviest armor, and then grabbed a katana and didn't do anything except slash. I didn't even move. He stood in front of me, destroying me. I'm slashing at him, and it was a race to the bottom. And I think when I finally beat him, I had maybe like 5 points of health left at all.
Oh, man.
And it was just that close. But I was like, there's no other way to fight this man. His reach is too great. His speed is incredible. His damage is so high. Where it was like, there's no...
Yeah.
I can't... I've been spending like 7 hours straight trying to learn to dodge this stupid guy. And I can't block, I can't dodge. I'm just going to have to clink, 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 and just shred as fast as I can go.
It never occurred to you fighting all those Black Knights and all those Silver Knights to parry?
You know, I think when it came to bosses, I was so
just like,
just
no, you
frightened
can't parry
of
a boss.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that I ever tried. I was very good at parrying any random guy in that game, but boss fights I don't think I ever once tried.
Yeah, because if you parry him, that fight's easy.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, third playthrough, we're going to be a parry lord again.
And I love that you listed Gwen as this, and like really, and you saw Gwen as this like intense hard boss, because a lot of people who use the parry strategy, say that Gwen is supposed to be a weak boss to plon your emotions or something.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I guess if you do not fight him with parries, yeah, because I did the same thing. He'd crush me, and then I was
can't get away from him.
Yeah, and then I tried parrying. I'm like, oh, it's pretty easy to parry.
And it didn't even cross my mind. I think I looked at every boss like, wow, this is some sort of super powered killing machine.
Yeah, I can't just go.
Yep.
But yeah, Gwen, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that we didn't have any repeats.
Yeah.
And I feel like your top 5, spoilers for a future episode maybe, but might read like my bottom 5.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh, interesting.
Because all of those bosses have horrible run-ups, and I hate boss run-ups.
So Elden Ring is your game,
Oh,
huh?
yes, Elden Ring is amazing. I can just fail and fail and fail and fail, and we cut out all the fat in between those attempts.
Sure, okay, that's fair.
Oh.
I don't know. There's something... I think I might be the target audience for these games, like fully, because I so greatly relish the feeling after I've defeated a really difficult area. I so greatly look forward to that.
Yeah.
That it's like, if they make it as miserable as possible leading up to that boss fight and I beat that boss, I feel like I'm the king, you know?
But the problem is I usually go through the area, pick it clean,
Sure.
kill all the enemies so
Sure.
I can run around freely and kind of explore once. And then I'm like, I don't want to do that again. So then I find the path of least resistance between all the enemies,
Sure.
and then I just end up doing that every time.
Yeah. I always try to convince myself not to 100% things. I just replayed Jedi Fallen Order and was trying to go, all right, I've already 100%ed this thing on another console. I don't need to do it on this console. But and so when I was like, you know what, we're gonna do the cinematic mode, I'm gonna go easiest difficulty. I'm just gonna play through, watch the cutscenes, have a good time. And then I was like, wait, no, I'm taking a slight break from Elden Ring. I can't let my skill level diminish. Jedi Grandmaster difficulty. And then I was like, oh, I want all the ponchos. And then 100%.
And then there it goes.
There it goes. Yep. So,
well, to recap, your list, like I said, maybe reads like my bottom 5, but your list was 5, Bed of Chaos, 4, Four Kings, 3, Sith. Special shout out to any boss with a tail.
Yep.
Number 2 was Gravelord Nito.
Yep.
Number 1 was Gwyn, Lord of Cinder.
Yep.
Mine read like 5 was Quelaag. 4 was the Bell Gargoyles. 3, Ornstein and Smaug. Special mention of Manus. 2 was, I just wrote Sack.
Sanctuary Guardian.
Sanctuary Guardian.
Sack, wouldn't that be the first demon that you're?
Hey. And then number 1 was Artorias.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So yeah, cool. That was fun. That was Maidenless Podcast's top 5 bosses from Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back with more episodes. Bye-bye.